What's up? This is a build video for my first FPV drone build. It came in at under $200 and I'm just gonna go over the parts I ordered off of Amazon and then the 3D printed parts I designed to make everything work.
This is the FlySky i6X receiver. It came bundled with the transmitter I ordered. It has 6 channels. It has an advertised range of about 1.5 kilometers, which is plenty enough, at least for a very beginner flyer like me. So it does come with the large antennas, but I kind of solved that with my 3D printed solutions that I'll go over later. I'm using iFlight 5000 kV motors. They were cheap enough and had really good reviews, and so that was good enough for me. This is the 4S battery I've been running. It's pretty goofy in retrospect. This is 1500 milliamp hour. I just ordered an 800 milliamp hour one because in terms of weight and size, it's just massive. When you look at this whoop, it feels massive. This is the Hero 7 I'm using. But yeah, when everything's on here, it's pretty heavy and pretty big. So hopefully I didn't go too far on the other extreme by using the 800 milliamp hour. For now, it does fly with this, so this is what I'll be using until I get that. For the camera, I'm using kind of cheap, it's called AKK FPV camera. Very cheap, again, got decent reviews, so it was good enough for me. The one I got on Amazon did come with its own VTX. I ended up burning that out when I powdered on without the antenna attached, so lesson learned. I got this VTX, it's smaller than the one it came with, which is nice because the other one was actually really big considering this is a Cinewhoop at the end of the day. But I'm kind of including the packages one. This was pretty cheap, about half the cost. This frame is just like a standard frame made by TCMMRC on Amazon. Again, pretty standard. I wasn't really sure at the beginning whether I wanted this to be a racer or a whoop. I think there are better frames that are probably a lot lighter that I could be using out there, but I'm happy I started off with this carbon fiber frame. It's pretty simple. And now the part that I'm most excited about, this SpeedBee F405 mini flight controller stack. It just made everything so accessible, getting to know how these FPV drones work. It was also pretty much the cheapest flight controller stack I could find on Amazon, so you really can't go wrong. I know these are probably talked about ad nauseum on the internet, and so I will kind of just leave it at that. All parts were printed in PLA. I think it'd be interesting to experiment with lightweight PLA or carbon fiber infused PLA. In terms of structural gain, I don't know if you get much besides with these prop guards. Weight saving benefits, I could see it saving a good amount of weight. So again, that would be interesting to play around with. So starting from the bottom here, this is where I house my receiver. As you can see, the FlySky receiver is massive. I know you can take the plastic casings off. I've seen people do that to save space, but honestly, it makes it makes it easier for me to leave the plastic casing on, so I could design this bracket here. My main design goal was to have it open on both sides so I can take the receiver out as I use it for different projects. So you can see how it's just friction fitted in here. Pretty much everything on here is based off of friction fit. These antennas go through this landing gear here. Again, friction fit into the holes. I made the two pieces the same height, so the drone stands perfectly level. They basically act as a landing gear. But yeah, that's at the bottom. I know typically you want to put your receiver on the top along with everything else, but there's just no way this receiver is going to fit anywhere on here. So in the back, I call this the VTX cage. You can see it's a pretty messy print. The string got kind of messed up, but it friction fits the VTX unit. The wire is connected through the bottom. It has no play, even if I shake it upside down. It's pretty sturdy. This antenna is pretty large compared to what I've seen, but that's kind of the theme of the drone, right? Everything is large in this build. In the front, this one might be kind of hard to see, but this is the cam bracket housing the FPV camera. It's based off these open arms, and so the cam is just held by the tension of these two arms right here. It's not the most stable. It's open on both ends, so you can see how it kind of can move back and forth with some force. In flight, this is not an issue. Ideally, I'd like to have it closed on at least 3 ends, but this is what I have for now. It would definitely be the part I would want to iterate first when coming up with more designs for this. And then on the up top right here is just a GoPro mount. This is standard, it's been done a billion times. I just fit it so I can attach it using the M3 screws that go into the supports for this carbon fiber frame. Every part is attached through, rather, I guess, the standoffs that come in the frame, making everything pretty efficient. Everything kind of relies on these two attachment points. This bracket is mounted through holes going through the bottom. And then lastly, the prop guards here. These are also pretty messy prints, as you can see if you look closely on the bottom, but they do the trick. I think as I crash this more and as the prop guards break, I will be inclined, or rather encouraged, to iterate these more.
In conclusion, I was able to successfully build and fly a 3-inch Cinewoop drone for around $200 with exclusively Amazon Prime available parts. This is not including the battery or the GoPro. It does utilize extremely budget components. As far as I can tell, no serious FPV person is running FlySky receivers and transmitters. But for those who are dipping their toes into the field, do know that this is an option and it works at a huge discount. This build also requires a solid amount of design time and 3D printed parts to make all the components work on the frame. The SpeedyBeef stack is the central component to build around things, and so if I do feel like I need to upgrade individual parts, it should be pretty easy. And I'm excited to keep iterating the fabricated parts as they inevitably break during my crashes. I hope you found this video helpful.